Most people have heard of Auschwitz, the infamous Nazi concentration camp where over 1 million people were murdered during World War II, but not many know that one man volunteered to go inside. His name was Witold Pilecki, and his story is one of the most courageous and overlooked acts of the entire war. Pilecki was a Polish army officer born in 1901. When Nazi Germany invaded Poland in 1939, World War II officially began. Poland was quickly overturned. The Nazis occupied the western part of the country while the Soviet Union took over the east. Even though Poland was conquered, many Polish citizens refused to give up. Secret resistance groups began forming to fight back, and Witold Pilecki became a key member of one of them. Around this time, rumors began to spread about a new Nazi prison camp located in the southern part of Poland, what the Germans called Auschwitz. People were being arrested and sent there, but nobody really knew what was going on inside. The Nazis kept it a secret. Some believed it was just another prison, others suspected something far worse, although the Polish resistance wanted answers. So Pilecki came up with the daring and dangerous plan. He would let himself be arrested by the Nazis and sent to Auschwitz. His goal was to go in cover, live among the prisoners, gather information, and build a secret network inside the camp. Then he would find a way to smuggle out reports and tell the world what was really happening. During a Nazi street roundup in Warsaw, he used a fake name and allowed himself to be captured. A few days later, he was sent to Auschwitz. There he was assigned prisoner number 4859. What he found inside the camp was horrifying. Prisoners were beaten, starved, and worked to death. Many died from cold, disease, or random executions. Every day, people disappeared. Pilecki quickly realized that Auschwitz wasn't just a prison, it was a place of mass murder. But even in such awful conditions, he stayed focused on his mission. Over the next 2.5 years, Pilecki risked his life every day. He built a secret resistance group among the prisoners, gathering names, dates, and details about what the Nazis were doing. He managed to smuggle out reports through prisoners who were released or transferred and through the Polish underground. These reports were some of the first eyewitness accounts of what would later be known as the Holocaust. Pilecki's reports were sent to the Polish government in exile in London and were eventually shared with British and other Allied leaders. He described gas chambers, mass executions, starvation, and cruelty on a massive scale. Sadly, at the time, many of these reports were ignored or not believed. The scale of the horror was hard for people to understand. In April 1943, Pilecki escaped from Auschwitz. He and 2 other prisoners broke out of the camp and made it back to safety. It was a dangerous escape, but he survived. After that, he continued to fight. He joined the Polish Home Army in the Warsaw Uprising of 1944. It was a major act of resistance against the Nazis, but Pilecki's story didn't end with the defeat of Nazi Germany. After the war, Poland was taken over by the Soviet Union and became a communist party. Pilecki didn't support the new regime, and once again he joined the underground resistance, this time against the communists. In 1947, he was arrested by the secret police, tortured, and accused of being a spy. In 1948, he was executed by a firing squad. His grave was unmarked, and for decades, his story was hidden. It wasn't until the fall of communism in the 1990s when Pilecki's story began to come to light. Poland officially honored him as a hero. In 2006, he was posthumously awarded the Order of the White Eagle, the highest Polish honor. Witold Pilecki is not only remembered today as a soldier, but as one of the most courageous people of the 20th century. He chose to walk into one of the worst places on earth, not for glory or fame, but so that the world could know the truth. His bravery saved lives, and his story continues to inspire people all over the world. In the middle of one of the darkest chapters in human history, and a place built to destroy lives, something completely unexpected happened. A young Jewish woman sent to Auschwitz to die was saved not by a soldier or a liberation army, but by one of the very guards who worked there. What began as a strange act of kindness turned into something much more complicated. This is the true story of Helena Citrónová, the Jewish woman who survived Auschwitz because a Nazi fell in love with her. Helena Citrónová was born on August 26, 1922 in Helena, a small town in what was then Czechoslovakia. She was one of 4 children in a Jewish family. Her father was a cantor, a person who sings in the synagogue, and Helena inherited his love for music. Her older brother used to joke that he'd one day take her to Prague so she could become a performer. Life was full of promise then, but things changed quickly in the 1930s. The Nazi regime was growing stronger, and life for Jewish families across Europe became more and more dangerous. Helena's sister Rosa had once moved to Palestine with her husband and daughter, but in 1939 they made the tragic decision to return home just as war was breaking out. People warned them that there was a war brewing, but by the time they realized how serious things were, it was already too late. In March 1942, Helena was arrested and sent to Auschwitz. She was just 19 years old. She was part of one of the first transports of Jewish women from Slovakia to the camp. Many of them thought they were going to work in a factory. They had no idea they were being sent to a death camp. At Auschwitz, Helena was assigned to clean the SS barracks, the living quarters of Nazi officers. The SS were feared for their brutality, but it was also here in this impossible place that Helena's life would take a strange turn. One day while singing at a birthday celebration organized by the SS for a fellow guard, Helena caught the attention of a young SS officer named Franz Wunsch. He was 20 years old and had recently arrived at the camp. He was struck by her voice and by her presence. Franz began to send Helena small gifts, extra food, soap, and warm clothing. These weren't luxuries in Auschwitz, they were lifelines. Accepting these gifts was dangerous. If anyone found out, she could be beaten or killed, but turning him down was just as risky. Helena didn't know what to do. She was terrified, confused, and alone, but she also understood that his attention, strange as it was, might be the only reason she was still alive. One day her sister Rosa, who had returned from Palestine just before the war, was brought into the camp. Helena watched in horror as her sister was lined up for the gas chamber. She ran to Franz, begging him to save her, and somehow he did. He pulled her sister from the line and assigned her to camp work, saving her life. Very few people in Auschwitz could say that they saved even one life. Franz saved 2. In 1945, the war finally ended and Auschwitz was liberated. The Nazis fled or were captured. Helena had survived one of the most horrific places in human history. Franz was later arrested and put on trial in Austria for his role in the SS. Many survivors came forward to testify against him. Although Helena was different, she came forward to confirm that he had indeed helped her and her sister. She didn't deny what happened, and she said he had loved her. She told the truth. After the war, Helena moved to Israel. She passed away in 2007, and her story came to light through Holocaust historians and testimonies. It remains one of the most unique and complex stories to come out of the Holocaust. It's a story that challenges how we think about evil, power, survival, and humanity in the darkest of places. Helena Citrónová didn't just survive Auschwitz. She carried a story that has made historians pause, made survivors reflect, and made the world think twice about what can happen when humanity and horror collide.